Behind me is my 93 GMC Jimmy that we built in a very short time frame to make a trip to Moab. Chopped the front end all up, threw some Jeep axles underneath of it, tried to do bare bones, a cool, out-of-the-box wheeler for a very small price. But currently, this thing is running like trash, and I gotta do something about it. Engine lights on, misfire came back that we dealt with in the past. I got a sneaky suspicion it's got something to do with that ignition system and the electronic distributor. Plus this thing's got all sorts of other issues kind of going on, so we got to start at one end or the other. Start somewhere, start fixing something. So let's pop the hood and dive into that end, and then if we get some time, we need to dive into some of the suspension issues that I've got going on, the wrong things I did, and see what else we might need to change or stuff that needs to be fixed. So when I first brought this thing home, it had a really terrible misfire. And what it ended up being was a bunch of carbon built up on the inside of the cap and the rotor. That carbon came from somewhere. And that distributor is actually computer controlled and electronically advanced. Now the reason I think that it's starting to misfire again is I got a sneaky suspicion that that cap has carboned up once again. And when I put a timing light on it at one point, it seemed like the timing was kind of shooting all over the place. Think that's maybe another reason for that thing starting to kind of build up a little carbon. I don't know. I'm taking a shot in the dark here, but for some reason, my mind is telling me that that distributor is not working like it should. Hopefully it's the distributor and not like a computer or wiring issue or something. But let's start there. That's kind of I guess the cheapest shot in the dark that I can take. It's already got new plugs in it, so let's change out the wires. Let's change out that distributor and cap and rotor, get all that out of there, reset the timing, and see if we get lucky and that fixes our issue. Awesome. Okay. Come on. Piece of junk. Okay, now that our timing and misfire appear to all be in check, working correctly, we need to address another big issue we've been having, and that's death wobble. Since doing the front axle in this thing, it was fine in the beginning, but something settled and changed. Now we've got a pretty severe death wobble going on when driving it down the road. Now, if my hillbilly route of measuring my caster is correct, then yeah, my caster is not within spec. And that could definitely be a cause for death wobble in that front axle. Now, typically you would just adjust your upper links, or lower links if you had to get that axle to roll forward and backwards and put your caster where it needs to be. My problem is when I set the front end up and built it, I built these upper links a little bit too short. So that means I'm adjusting them out, and I don't like where that heim's landing on the end of this link. So I'm actually gonna take my links, cut both ends off, try to retrieve my bung, try to retrieve this bracket off of here, and I'm gonna add a little bit more tube length on there, lengthen these back out. Hopefully that'll put my caster in check and where it needs to be, and it'll fix our death wobble issue. Well, got a little deep into it. Gonna smooth that out with a grinder and weld back into it. Been a couple days since I completely destroyed my tube insert bungs, the threads, and the heim, trying to save 10 bucks and reuse some of those parts. Since then, I have ordered new bungs and an extra heim, got those parts here, so let's finish these links up, get them underneath this Jimmy, and see if we corrected our death wobble alignment issue even a little bit. Okay, we're all bolted up. And I'm hoping that I don't have to take this back apart and do it all over again, because my measuring was very subpar, mediocre. However you want to say it, I'm not confident in how I measured that. But we definitely made some big changes. So I'm expecting to see some sort of difference, but hopefully in the right direction. Well, get a few miles on her, hope for the best. Okay, Jimmy's back in the garage because now we gotta move on to some of those other things that we were kind of talking about, things I did wrong, things I gotta fix. Big one is bushings on the end of the link. Before we switched out those shocks and limited that travel, might have torn a bushing. And that could be some of our death wobble, clunky, random stuff kind of going on. So I wanna address that. Honestly, I might change that down the road. I wish in the beginning I would have put the Johnny joints in the back and not at the axle end. That was a goof up on my part. Doesn't really make sense now. But regardless, now that we've limited the travel, let's replace the bushings, hopefully fix something going on, as well as one of our trips, we lost a transmission mount bolt. We actually lost two. So the transmission was moving around in there. I got one of them back in. The other one, pretty sure the threads are messed up. So let's drop that whole cross member down out of there, fix our transmission mount, fix our bushings inside of those links, and maybe put all this back together. And I don't know, with any luck, fix a couple of things or a couple of problems that we're having. Now these are kind of a funky, oh boy. Like a funky metric bolt. So I'm hoping I can save these or retain them. And maybe I can just re-tap these threads if I didn't mess them up too bad. But I did notice this bushing is like torn. I think I got a lot of weight on this side. So we might have to jack this transmission up somehow, get a little weight and pressure off of this so I can get this last bolt out. Voila. Oh. Okay, now that that's out, we can actually see that that bent our one remaining transmission bolt sideways. So we got to extract that, get that out of there, and then I'm going to reassess those bushings. It tore that outside of that one link bushing, but until I pull it, I couldn't really tell if it actually tore the inside, if that was moving at all. So okay, round to town, got some parts. We've got a couple of issues that we kind of need to fix. We got a really oblong hole out for our transmission mount, or one of our transmission mount holes. So we're gonna add a little bit of a washer or spacer to that. We got shorter sleeves for the bushings. Let's tear into this. I'm also gonna add a little guide, or I don't even know what to call it, but little rails, little gussets off to the side of this cross member, just to help brace it from being able to move front to back in case anything gets loose inside of there again, because you can tell where some of these bolts got loose, and that's my fault. I should have been checking those, and it allowed that to move back and forth. Okay, while we're waiting for those wells to cool down just a little bit, and we'll throw a little paint over them before we put our cross member all the way back in. I'm gonna turn my attention back to a problem that we originally were trying to fix before this, and that is that random rough running misfire. Now we put that distributor and coil wires and coil pack into that thing because I thought, I was hoping that that would fix it. Well, it didn't. Big surprise, right? So I took the upper intake manifold off of that thing to get down and take a look inside of where that spider injection fuel system is mounted. And what it looks like I found is the problem. Inside that intake manifold, it's got fuel puddling up. I believe it's coming from the fuel pressure regulator, and I'm hoping it's not coming from the spider injection. You see how it's nice and clean right there? It's super dirty over here. Well, there was fuel puddled up right down in that bottom corner. Right here is our fuel pressure regulator, and there's a weep hole on the back of it. So I got a new fuel pressure regulator. I got a whole freaking gasket set because apparently you can't buy just the upper intake manifold. I had to buy the lowers as well. So just add those to the pile of gaskets I think I need to keep and I'll never use. So let's pull that off, swap out that regulator, try to retest, cycle the fuel system, make sure we got no more fuel leaks, and cross our fingers and hope that that fixes my issue. Oh my God. Pretty sure my life just became a living nightmare because while I was tightening this regulator down, I think it just broke the ear off this pump. Oh no. A little plastic ear just broke off of that. How is this my flippin' life? Oh, that is worst case scenario. After some serious consideration, I am officially super gluing this pump back together. That's right, I said super gluing because these things are expensive, they are very hard to find, and one of the cheapest outlets is me sending that pump to get rebuilt, which it's broke, so that doesn't work. So I'm gonna put this all back together, cross my fingers, that I don't have any problems with that thing. Okay, I think everything is hooked back up. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Our front end is still just kind of hanging under this thing. I'm gonna fire this up and see if A, it even starts, and B, if it runs any better, which I'm really hoping it does, and C, hope that it doesn't fall off these jack stands that it's teetering on with all that ruckus. Seems a ton smoother. I don't know. We'll let her run for a minute. See how she sounds. So far, I'm batting 1,000 on this thing. Any naysayers about the super glue trick, you'll be pleased to know it fell apart almost immediately. And everything that I've done to this thing up to this point has not fixed my death wobble issue as well. I finally wised up and climbed underneath of that thing and had an extra set of hands, and I actually did find my death wobble issue, and I did make a purchase on a new injector pump, so possibly fixed our runnability issue. And I'm happy to say that I positively fixed my death wobble issue. But we're not done working on this thing, and we've got an adventure coming up and a few tricks up our sleeve that we need to pull to get this thing ready for it. But all of those fixes and all of those tricks, you're gonna have to see in the next episode.